you not. Of course,
you know I got to get with you at the beginning.
Listen, you're the only. I'm gonna tell you something about you. You're the only guest that I know that whenever you will literally correct the interviewer in the intro. You're the only one that's ever done that to me. I respect that. You've done that to me before.
So you're my brother, and I honor you, and I consider you to be one of the great independent journalists in the Black nation and in America.
I appreciate it. I wasn't
and there's no hype on that.
Listen, I wasn't at all, trying to jump in your case about that. I appreciate that.
So, right.
Attorney,
speak up loud.
Attorney Shabazz, last Tuesday left a lot of people with hurt feelings. We're talking about the election. Okay, a lot of the Black leadership, which comprises, of course, prominent Black media figures, Black public figures, were capping for the Democrats and Vice President Kamala Harris. We want to know, first of all, of course, many people are attempting to blame Black people, Black men, for her loss within the Democratic Party. Many are attempting to use Black people or Black men as a scapegoat. And as we saw in this past election, according to the Associated Press, 53% of white women voted for President Trump. And in 2016, it was 52%. And in 2020, the numbers still kind of remained the same. Over half of white women voted. But this year, it was significant because more Latinos voted for President Trump, 42%, according to the Associated Press. What are your thoughts on this whole election, especially Black folk who have capped for Vice President Harris?
Okay, that's multiple questions in one question, but let's start with this. I want to let my brothers and sisters know, Black people across this nation, to know that whatever I speak and however I answer these questions, that they are in the best interest of Black people. That I've worked all my life coming out of Howard University and Howard University School of Law and working in the liberation struggle. That however I answer these questions, I want you to understand that my motivation is that I love my people, and I pain that my people have not achieved the liberation that they should have, and that they have not advanced to the way they should have. And so I'm breaking my silence, because I've been silent for a while, and I've allowed this election to pass. And now I'm going to speak out. I'm going to speak out strongly to my people so that they can get free. However I answer these questions, my motivation is in the utmost serious desire that my people attain freedom and independence. And so I want to just start off by saying that many of those statistics that you quoted are true, and it's true that that first of all, that there's big disappointment here amongst many Black people, many, not all of them, but many, that Miss Kamala Harris, that Howard University graduate, did not achieve the White House. She did not win the election. Kamala Harris, as much as I honor her, as much as many people have said that she reminds them of my mother, because she's a aggressive, assertive, competent Black woman, okay? That despite all of her qualifications, she took a sound beat on last Tuesday. I mean, many people were expecting her to win. All of the polls says that she was either about to win or tied to win, and everybody was shocked that she blew out of that election. And I want to first of all say to Black women across this country that I know y'all are hurt, that I know you all are in pain, and I honor our queens. I honor you all. And I mean nothing against Miss Harris and about what I'm about to say. But overall, this election was a sound rejection of the Democratic Party. And it was a sound rejection of Democratic Party politics by the American public. On another hand, it was a sound rejection of a woman being president. Sound rejection of that by the American presidency. Pardon me, by the American population. This was a sound rejection of a woman becoming president of the United States. And I do say she's a black woman. I know some people want to challenge me on that. We can get into that. This was a sound rejection of that. But moreover, this was a sound rejection of the Democratic Party. And there are many brothers and sisters who are watching, they have become disillusioned and dissatisfied with the Democratic Party. So I open up telling you, like my mentor, the Honorable Khalid Abdul Muhammad, said to us. He said, Democratic Party or Republican Party, most of us are not even invited to the party. And he said, fool, it ain't even that kind of party. He said to us about many elections, he says, Satan, Lucifer, the devil, or Beelzebub. Whichever one you vote for, you're going to end up in hell. Both parties have robbed black people. Both parties have ignored or taken black people for granted. And so this election, as shocking as it may be, as much as I repudiate Donald Trump, I must say in all candidacy, in all candidness, I must say that Donald Trump being elected to the presidency of the United States of America, it may not feel good to you, but it's good for you, black people. That this is the best medicine that black people need, is to have Donald Trump now in office and to be off of the Democratic nipple, to be off of their dependency of the Democratic Party, and to face the valley of decision about what we will do as a people. Well, those are my initial thoughts on it. I honor Ms. Harris. I honor those that support Ms. Harris. But I must say that this election is in divine order. You wanted Kamala Harris, but Donald Trump was elected in by the American people. History placed Donald Trump in the White House, and he placed Donald Trump in the White House for your own good. It's for your own good, black people, that you have Donald Trump in the White House and not the Democratic Party. And I believe, if you hear what I have to say tonight, that you will make much faster progress with Donald Trump in office than you ever would have with Miss Kamala Harris. And I'll tell you why in the course of this interview.
Yeah, why don't you take us into that? How will we make further progress under a Trump presidency? Did we make it under his presidency the first time?
We'll answer that, whether we can make it. It depends on who you are. It depends on your mentality. If you have a slave mentality, you will not make it. If you're looking for a handout or welfare, you will not make it. If you're looking to be placated by what we call token politics, then you will not make it. If you're on the Democratic payroll and part of Democratic Party politics, then you're gonna go into despair. You're going to start to panic. You're going to believe that you have no hope because one of your slave masters is dead. I'm here to tell you straight up that the Democratic Party is akin to one slave master. And the Republican Party, the MAGA, is equivalent to another slave master. And so I gotta start off by telling black people that either slave master you choose, you're not going to go free. Trading one slave master for another is not going to free you. But the Bible, the book of Exodus, talks about the children of Israel, and it talks about their dilemma in going free. And many times in that book, it speaks, it says that God or Jehovah hardened Pharaoh's heart, that it hardened Pharaoh's heart. It didn't say that it eased Pharaoh's heart. The book didn't say that who the book calls Pharaoh, which is really symbolism, because that's the United States government. It's all written in symbols and parables and prophecy. And so the government is cloaked in the scripture as Pharaoh, because we all know that there were no Jews, no black Jews, nor white Jews in bondage in Egypt for over 400 years. And our pharaohs, Khufu, Khafre, Akhenaten, Hatshepsut, all of the line of the kings and queens of Kemet and Pharaoh from the first dynasty down to the 36th dynasty, that they were righteous. They're people we should honor and uphold, for we are the mothers and fathers of civilization. And so if I speak to the Bible tonight, I'm speaking out of the wisdom of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I'm speaking out of the wisdom of our scholars, Dr. Yusuf Ben Yakin and others. We are the only people that have been in a land that is not our own for over 400 years. And the book says that God hardened Pharaoh's heart. It didn't say he gave you a kinder, gentler Pharaoh. The book didn't say that it gave you a good-looking Pharaoh that could dance and sing with you and give you joy and make you feel happy. The book says that God hardened Pharaoh's heart. He gave you a harder slave master on the children of Israel, so that the children of Israel would want freedom, because if they didn't stand up for freedom and independence, they would go back on the plantation. And so if they were faced with ease, they would stay in an easier form of bondage if the government didn't crack down on them to help them to go free. Now, we are the only people, as I say, that have been in the land that is not our own for 400 years. We are the fulfillment of the book. And we can't fulfill the book remaining under the wing of any slave master, Democratic or Republican. And if you say that Donald Trump is a racist, if you say that Donald Trump is a white supremacist, because he is, if you say that he's a white nationalist, if you say that he's mean, he's nasty, he's gonna crack down on us, then I say, good, goddammit. Let the cracker crack down on us, because we need to wake up to reality, and we're never going to wake up to reality and do something for ourselves and stand up for ourselves as long as we're under the illusion that a black face in high place means real change. But I'm sorry to say this, and sorry that everybody that's watching, but if the Honorable Sister Kamala Harris had been elected in the office, we'd be going right to sleep right now. I mean, we just go right on off to sleep. She would get up there smiling with all that joy, and we would say, oh, we done made it. We done made it on to the White House, child. We done made it on. You wouldn't want to hear from me right now if Kamala Harris had gained the White House. You wouldn't want to hear from a black nationalist, Malik Zulu Shabazz, and this black talk of freedom and independence and liberation. You would be happy that you had a black face in the White House. You would be happy that you had Megan Thee Stallion dancing at the White House, and other woman, Glorilla up there dancing it, popping their fingers in the White House. You would be happy if you was like Roland Martin. He'd be rolling his big behind up into the White House, and Bakari Sellers and Van Jones. Van Jones would just, he wouldn't even be crying. He'd be happy. All the Negroes would be at the White House, and the masses of our people would not be moving nowhere. You would have some symbolism and some access to the White House, and you'd be on TV, and you'd be happy. Out of 20 ethnic groups in America, 20 of them, the Indian American, the Russian American, the Caucasian American, and all of these ethnic groups, we are 20th on the list of median income of races in America. The African coming from Africa in America ahead of us. The Caribbean, our West Indian sisters and brothers who I love, ahead of us. Every other ethnic group, the brown man, the Mexican, everybody ahead of us. And I'm here to tell you that if the Democrats had got elected, we would remain at the bottom of the total poll. I'm ashamed that my people are last in all ethnic groups and business and economy and doing for themselves. So although we're hurt that Donald Trump, many are hurt. Some on here not hurt. But many of you are hurt that Donald Trump has attained the White House and is in power, and that the MAGA controls the White House. MAGA controls the Senate. MAGA controls the House of Representatives. MAGA controls the Supreme Court. And sorry to say it, MAGA controls the Justice Department. It hurts, but it's for your own black good that you face a red wall in your black face.
Now, quite a few prominent black social media personalities, such as Tariq Nasheed.
Speak up a little bit, brother.
Quite a few black media personalities, black social media personalities, such as Tariq Nasheed and others, have mentioned, of course, even though the majority of the black community still supported Vice President Harris, there was still a significant number of black people who didn't, who voted for Trump. Do you feel that there is displeasure among many black people, many African Americans towards the Democrats? Because that's actually been expressed for quite some time. What are your thoughts concerning the relationship between our community and the Democrats? Have they taken us for granted? What do you feel?
The Democratic Party is losing support amongst black people. Donald Trump got the most support of any Republican candidate in 48 years. Black people are dissatisfied with the Democratic Party, and it is increasing. But the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and his son and his student, the Honorable Silas Muhammad, I've also been taught by his national spokesman, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and I've been taught by Khalid Abdul Muhammad, my mentor, that dissatisfaction is the mother of change. Dissatisfaction is the origin of change. So if you are dissatisfied with the Democratic Party, that's fine. I'm Malik Zulu Shabazz, have never been a Democrat. And you damn sure know I haven't been a Republican. I'm an independent voter. I believe in independence for my people. I believe in independence for myself. And so I believe that black people, if they're going to engage in the political process, if you're going to engage in it, I believe they should be independents. I believe we should go all the way independent and not be under the chokehold of any political party. I believe we should be independent as voters. I believe we should be independent as a people. The Democratic Party has pushed many things down our throats that as a black community that we don't believe in, but we have to accept it. Many of their policies are against the black family. Many policies of the Democratic Party are against the traditional black family. The Democratic Party has blurred the lines between a man and a woman. It used to be you had a clear line in America and in the world between what a man was and a woman was until Brother Barack Obama got in office. And so now you don't know what's going on. A man, just like me, a strong man like me, obviously a man, can say right now, I can say right now, well, I'm not a man, I'm a woman. You can this is what the Democratic Party has pushed, that a man like me, under the Democratic Party politics and policies, I can say that I'm a woman. And I can take my big masculine behind in a women's bathroom with little young girls in there. And I can go right off in there. And that is supposed to be acceptable public policy that has been pushed by the Democrats. Many black people who are Christian and who are Muslims and who are just strong, well, they didn't necessarily believe in that. That was pushed on them. So I don't mean nothing against my sisters and brothers who are that way. But I want to say that one election result, I must say, that one kind of politics that took a strong hit in that election is transgender politics. Took a strong hit in that election. There's a pushback against that. There's pushback. There's immigration was a major factor. There are many black people who say that we have been here for over 400 years, that we're fighting to get our reparations. I'm a member of the Afro-descended nation as well as Black Lawyers for Justice. The Afro-descended nation, we're fighting for full and complete reparations. Well, when black people hear that migrants are getting a $400 a week food card and that migrants are getting this and migrants are getting that, well some black people are being upset about that. And I can't even say, according to the election results, that the brown people, that they even upset about it. Hell, the brown man, the Latinos went for Donald Trump. Latino men voted for Donald Trump. 6 out of 10 Latinos voted for Donald Trump, and he has a strong anti-immigration, anti-migrant policy. 50% of Latino women voted for Donald Trump. And so, hell, if they're not standing up for the migrants and immigration, what the hell does my black behind look like standing up for such policies? Everybody else has gotten theirs. Everybody has gotten theirs. But I'm here right now advocating for the black man and the black woman of America to get ours. I'm tired of us being last on the list, last in every category, last and happy because we got a black face in office. God damn it, we need to look reality in the eye, that we are like Lazarus, begging for the crumbs that fall off of the rich man's table or the white man's table, as Brother Khaled taught me. And we need to understand that we're in last place. We don't need to see a lot of black faces on TV. That's one thing you got off this election, Brother Farad. White people are tired of seeing your black behind on television every night. And you need to wake up to the reality of America. This election was about white people taking back their country and led by their white hero, Donald Trump. That's what it's about. White people are in fear of losing their country to a growing black population, a growing brown population. And you ain't got no problem making no babies, but white people is fighting for IVF, in vitro fertilization. They're fighting for their birth rate. They're frightened that the black and the brown people are taking over. So they elected a white man into office that they feel that could handle us and keep us in our place and keep the white man on top. That's the kind of medicine that's ultimately going to unite us and wake us up. Not the message of integration that the Democratic Party is preaching. I call it integration and emasculation.
There seems to be, I'm glad you said that, because one of the main things that I heard during the campaign is that the Democratic Party is having a problem with men. At first they were saying with black men, but in the final days of the campaign, they were saying with men, period, young men in particular. So, it's amazing that you would make that statement, but I want to...
Well, let's stop there for a minute. Let's stop there for a minute. And because I'm offended that the black man had to prove himself in the election. I'm offended that that Barack Obama and Stacey Abrams and others would come out and try to act like the black man is going to be responsible for the loss of Kamala Harris. There were several categories of voters that supported Kamala Harris. It was black women who voted for Kamala Harris and in 92%. Then it was followed by black men at nearly 79 or 80%. Those are the top two that supported her. No statistic from any state, including battleground states or swing states, showed that black men, if they had voted a little bit more, she would have went over the top. No, she was beat by a wide margin. Well, why was she beat by a wide margin? She was beat by a wide margin because there was one group that abandoned her. You saw in the polls early on going into the election, you saw in the polls, they said Kamala Harris is winning big with women voters. They say she's up now by 15 points on Donald Trump with women's voters. That Kamala Harris is up on Donald Trump 58% to 42% with women voters, and that women are going to side this election. And all the Democrats went wild. And all you saw on the screen was abortion, 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 abortion. We're going to stand up for reproductive rights or abortion. How you going to win an election on killing babies? How you going to win an election saying that my platform is going to allow you to kill some babies some more? White women abandoned that. White women tricked y'all. They acted like they were with you. They smiled in your face and said they were with you. Some of them were Democrats. Some of them were independent. They said to you, black woman, that they were with you. But when they went behind the voting booth, they didn't choose gender. They chose the white race as their loyalty. And they left your black behind hanging. And they went back with the white man and with the white race according to their nature. And white women voted for Trump more than they voted for Kamala Harris. They voted for Trump. No matter if he said to snatch him or grab him in the pee, they voted for Trump. No matter if he was convicted in a civil trial of sexual assault, white women voted for Trump. And that's to let you know that your integrated hopes of politics is dead. Because at the end of the day, white people are going to stand with white people, and that's what I'm trying to get you to understand tonight, that you got to stand with your own people regardless. You got to stand up for black because you ain't got no hope in this integrated politics that's been pushed down your throat, because it's going to dissolve when times get critical. It's going to dissolve when, I don't care if you're a socialist, talking about a working class revolutionary, a proletarian revolution that it goes beyond race, and that the black worker and the white worker is going to unite. The hell if they will. That white man can be poor as hell, suffering like hell. You think he's going to line up with you rather than his white brothers and sisters, even though they might be billionaires like Donald Trump? You think he's going to line up with you, black union worker, black trade worker? Hell no. White people are going to line up with white people. The Honorable Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, to whom praises are due forever, he teaches us about the white fear of genetic annihilation. They understand that for them, integration means annihilation. Dr. Francis Cress Welsing teaches us that the white fear of genetic annihilation means that integration means annihilation. So regardless to class, regardless to politics, regardless to gender, white people stand with white people. And black people, you need to get over it and start standing up for black people and get your mouth out of waiting on the Democratic Party or the Republican Party to save you. The root of the word savior is to save yourself. I'm trying to teach you what Elijah Muhammad brought to you. I'm trying to teach you what Marcus Garvey brought to you. I'm trying to teach you what Malcolm X brought to you. And you would not hear me had Sister Queen Kamala Harris been elected in the office. You wouldn't hear this message, but now you got to hear it. You got to take the medicine. You got white supremacy in office, white people in power, but I'm here to tell you specifically, black woman, don't be scared, black woman. Don't be scared. There are some black men here that are on this line, are sitting in this seat, and are in this country. There are some black men that are not weak. There are some black men whose backs are not bent. There are some black men that are not half-baked, half-fried, sissified, punctified, and homogenized. There are strong black men here in America. And they have been pushed out in favor of democratic black men, Democratic Party leaders as black men. They've been pushed out. But I'm here to tell you and Queens and the mothers of civilization on this phone, don't you worry. That there's some black men out here that's standing up for you and will fight for you, and that they're ready to take leadership in this hour, who want freedom and independence and a land and a nation of our own and an economy of our own and taking control of our community. So black man, it's our time to shine. Don't want to see any of you out there crying in tears now because Donald Trump is in office. It's time for you to stop shivering and shaking, and for the first time in your life, to stand up like a man and be a man. And damn it, live or die. Live or die like a damn man and not like a damn punk.
That takes me to another aspect of this.
Yes, sir.
Now, of course, we've seen, the Roman Martins. As we know, most of my colleagues, most of black media is on the side of the Democrats. And of course, Dr. Amos Wilson had warned that would happen in his book, Blueprint for Black Power. But what astounds me are the amount of prominent black figures that we would consider revolutionary, who were camping hard for Kamala Harris. Okay, how do you feel about that? Many of them,
You gotta say you gotta name some names so we can deal with it.
Okay, for example, Dr. Malik, he wrote an article in the summertime defending Vice President Harris. He was also defending her racial identity, but he was explaining why we should support her. But there were many Afrocentric, many leftist black scholars that we know that were supporting her. How do you
tell me some names?
Well,
you said Karinga, that's one. You just told me that today. I found out about that. But
respectfully speaking, in another interview I did in August, I interviewed Professor James Smalls, and he had jumped on the case of black men for not supporting Kamala Harris. Okay, I've actually seen that circle. Dr. Ron Daniels of the Institute of the Black World, which I'm a member of. How do you feel about these are people who you would think would be quite anti-establishment, that were camping hard for Vice President Harris and the Democrats?
It's difficult. It's difficult to me to criticize Dr. Karinga because he is a. You okay, brother? It's difficult for me to criticize Dr. Maulana Karinga, who's given so much culture and scholarship to our people, and he is also a confidant to my mentor, Khalid Abdul Muhammad. It is difficult for me to criticize, impossible for me to criticize, Professor James Small, who's one of my mentors and a close confidant to my dear mentor, Khalid Abdul Muhammad. So I would say in those cases of those men, I believe that they made their statements out of racial solidarity. I know James Small to be for freedom and independence and complete liberation of black people. So whatever Professor James Small said, I know that it was out of some strategy, but I know that he can be trusted, and so I would be more inclined to comment on the other black leading Democrats that have big platforms.
I was going to mention
them.
Eddie Lord, for example, Dr. Eddie Lord. He was actually going off on MSNBC the other night because there was one of the white talking heads on. I don't know if it was Scarborough. He's an MSNBC talking head regularly, and you and I know Dr. Eddie Lord, Princeton professor, but political commentator, author. But there was a white woman on there that said that many people voted for Trump because of the economy. And so he went into I don't want to call it a rant, but he went on a tangent. With all due respect to Dr. Broad, he went on a tangent. It went viral, saying that how can we vote for a felon, a rapist, grabbed by the feet, as you said, because he surprisingly.
They need to stop that, some of that. How can you vote for a felon? God damn it, every president of the United States of America is presiding over a criminal enterprise that has stole the land of the red man and robbed the black man and brought him to America. God damn it, almost every president that ever occupied the White House was a criminal. But how is this criminal different than any other criminal? And I believe that the Democrats backfired. I believe their strategy backfired. I'm going to say it straight up as a lawyer and a student of the courtroom and court decisions, that every case they put against Donald Trump was a political case and not a legal case. And that's why those cases are dissolving. Jack Smith's case out of Washington, nothing but a political case of retribution against Donald Trump, not an honest legal case, and that's why that case has gone nowhere. That case in New York, what is it, a paperwork case? A paperwork, talking about paperwork? Come on, man. Paperwork, you didn't fill out the right check form right for your check? 34 felonies? It's a political case, and it backfired against the Democrats. That's a political case, not damn paperwork. But I'm gonna let you come in, but I'm just talking. I just want to show you how this backfired. Attacking Donald Trump legally backfired. You should have left him alone and not prosecuted him and ignored him, and you probably would have won the race. Coming in to try him all over the country and lock him up did not work. You got to beat that devil at the ballot box. You have to beat him at the ballot box. We saw this. People get mad at me for saying this. But I said, I saw this before in my own life with Minister Louis Farrakhan and Brother Khalid Muhammad. If you keep attacking somebody and attacking them and attacking them and attacking them, if they are sincere in what they believe in and they have a base, you attacking them and attacking them and attacking them is just going to bring more attention to them, more sympathy to them, and it's going to ultimately cause their rise. Me and you came up in this era. We used to read the worst things in the world about Minister Louis Farrakhan. He's a racist. He's an anti-Semite. And we would go out to that convention center and it'd be standing room only. We would go out to Howard University to see Dr. Khalid Muhammad. They called him every dirty name in the book. But when we got out there, it was standing room only. Well, they hadn't learned. And so they kept trying to persecute Donald Trump on these phony charges. I done covered New York. I covered Washington, D.C. Oh, Fannie Willis. I know Fannie Willis' daddy. He's one of my mentors, Attorney John Floyd. Sister Fannie Willis. Fannie Willis needs to sit down with that case in Georgia. Sit down with that case. A phone call, election interference. All of this is what the Democrats was accusing Trump, saying Trump's going to do. When Trump's getting into office, he's gonna retaliate. Well, what the hell did you do to him? When genocide Joe Biden, now I'm hoping we're going to get to foreign policy soon. When genocide Joe Biden got into office, all CNN and the networks and everybody did was talk about Donald Trump every day. Instead of the Democrats doing something for people, working on this economy, working on these high food prices, working on these insanely high interest rates where you can't even buy a house because the damn interest rates are too high. Instead of working on inflation, they spent 4 years focusing on Donald Trump. But what they did was made a monster, because by constantly focusing on him, you fired up his base, and his base kicked your behind on last Tuesday. I would not have prosecuted him. I would have left him alone. I didn't see no merit to the charges. And I would tell Letitia James, that black woman in New York, Letitia James, sit your behind down. Because if you don't sit down, they're going to sit you down. Sit down. Win at the damn ballot box. Don't try to cheat and win in the courtroom and knock another candidate out by using legal means. Win at the damn ballot box and you'll get my respect. They should have ignored him and left him the hell alone. But they're learning now. Hopefully they'll learn. Maybe they'll never learn.
Now, you said Genocide Joe. What is your assessment of the situation going on in Gaza? You know, I know for quite some time you brought attention to that. And of course, you mentioned Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. They've actually brought attention to the plight of Palestine. And of course, anyone that defends Palestine is automatically referred to as anti-Semitic or hating Jews. What is your assessment? How was America handled that? How was the Biden administration handled that in your estimate, as compared to how you think Trump may handle it?
That's an excellent question. In terms of foreign policy in what they call the Middle East, and we'll talk about Ukraine in a minute. What they call the Middle East, I'm taught by my mentor, Minister Khalid Abdul Muhammad, that there is no Middle East. That what you call Palestine or so-called Israel is really Northeast Africa, separated by a man-made ditch called the Suez Canal. Palestine is in Africa. Saudi Arabia is in Africa. And these are lands that belong to the original and the indigenous people. I want to say right now that I have to give credit to my brother, the only candidate in this race that stood up against genocide, the only candidate that stood up against the Holocaust that's being perpetrated against Palestinian and Arab peoples. The only one that stood up strong against U.S. foreign policy was brother Dr. Cornel West and his vice president, Sister Queen Melina Abdullah. Both of them who I love very much. They are my family. And although Dr. Cornel West was far away from winning and Abdullah were far away from winning, they took the right moral stance and they are on the right side of history. Genocide Joe Biden, that's what I call him. How can it get worse? Whatever Donald Trump does in his foreign policy in terms of the Middle East, it cannot get worse than what happened under Genocide Joe Biden, and in this case, soft-stepping Kamala Harris. Netanyahu did not respect Joe Biden. Netanyahu, the leader of Israel, did not respect Kamala Harris. If Kamala Harris said, well, I'm looking for a ceasefire, Netanyahu said, send me some more bombs right now. Biden, send me some more weapons right now and hurry up with it, fool. And I'm going right back to bombing. And what did Genocide Joe do? He sent billions of dollars to kill innocent people, billions of dollars for American weapons flying into apartment buildings in this very hour, flying into apartment buildings, flying into hospitals, killing innocent women, children, babies, and Palestinians on the land that is theirs. It's their land that has been taken over by a Zionist occupier. And Genocide Joe, I call him Genocide Joe Biden, that's true. But I also call him Ho Biden. Did you hear what I said? I don't just call him Genocide Joe Biden, I also call him Ho Biden. Because he's like Netanyahu's hoe. Netanyahu say dance, he dances. Netanyahu say bring me that money back, here come Ho Biden bringing that money back. Say send me some bombs to kill innocent people, send me some bombs over there to kill innocent people. I'm proud of my international family in the Arab community, specifically in the state of Michigan. They said, I'm not voting for the lesser of no two evils. They said all of them are evil. They held up the state of Michigan. Man, I could go on and on this subject of the suffering of the Palestinian and the wrongs the wrong. Netanyahu is a war criminal. Netanyahu is a war criminal. None of them, Trump, Harris, nor Biden, should have been seen shaking his hands of a war criminal. The International Court of Justice has a warrant out for his arrest. But it's so goddamn hypocritical. That's why I can't deal with America, her goddamn hypocrisy. You're over here saying that it's wrong for what's happening in Ukraine, but you're sponsoring it against the Palestinians. So I don't know how it can get worse. Now, Donald Trump says that he gonna end the wars. So I believe that they made a deal. I believe that Netanyahu and Donald Trump have made a deal. That Netanyahu can kill as many as he can before Trump gets to office. You look on your screen right now, look over there, I believe they're killing as many as they can. Killing my brothers and sisters from Hezbollah. Killing who are some of the strongest in the planet. That's what I said. Killing the brothers and sisters in Palestine. I believe they made a deal to kill as many as they can before and take as much territory as they can before Trump gets in office. Same thing I believe is happening in Ukraine. Donald Trump promises he's going to end the wars. And I believe that Netanyahu is probably going to give him what he wants after he continues to kill way worse than Adolf Hitler ever imagined. Yeah, I mean, you never saw Hitler. You never, when World War II, you never saw Hitler when the Jews was in the ghettos of Warsaw, Poland. You never saw Hitler take the Nazi Air Force and just bomb Warsaw, did you?
Not at all.
You didn't see him just bombing concentration camps and bombing Warsaw, right?
Not at all.
I mean, brother, it is terrible. It's just terrible. So I don't see how it can get any worse. Donald Trump saying he's going to end the wars. We'll see. But I do know that genocide must end. That genocide must end. And it has to end right away. And I was going to say on Ukraine, on the Ukrainian situation, I believe that he is going to bring an end to that situation. I believe that Zelensky's days of coming to America and getting billions are over. That I believe that war in Ukraine has reached a stalemate. Right in this very hour, the Russians are advancing on the Eastern Front. They're capturing as much territory on the Eastern Front of Ukraine as they can before Trump takes office. And I believe that war will be settled. And I believe it's going to be settled by Ukraine and Zelensky having to concede the territory that Russia occupies and they will not give up. And so damn what? Ukraine has been under the jurisdiction and the influence of Russia since the 1700s. When Ukraine was under Nazi occupation, it was the Russians that freed their behinds. And so Zelensky and I would say America or the Democrats, maybe both, I'm going to have to say that they pushed this war to Russia's doorstep by trying to take over Ukraine. Yeah. By trying to take over Ukraine and for the West and to make Ukraine a part of NATO. I ain't really too much of my black business anyway, but I'm just letting you know about the situation. I believe that the war is going to be resolved, that Trump is going to force a settlement. He's not going to give Zelensky any more money. And that the war is going to be resolved with Russia retaining whatever they've been gained in the invasion. That's how I see that happening.
So you don't think, though, that Trump is pro-Israel, speaking of, reason I'm asking that because...
You got to speak up louder. So
you don't think that Trump is pro-Israel? Remember, in 2016 and 2020, he had a considerable, 2024, this go around, he had a considerable amount of Jewish Americans that voted for him. Because he had moved, one of the reasons he had moved the capital, what was that? Jerusalem, he said, is in Israel as opposed to Palestine. And so remember, many of them sided with him for that here in America. So you think, though, that Trump is not, you said he's not going to side with Netanyahu. You think he's going to end that?
That does does not mean, just because he's going to end it does not mean he's not pro-Israel. They're cheering in Tel Aviv that Trump wins. They love Donald Trump.
That's why I was asking.
Donald Trump tried to move the capital of Israel from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem.
That's what I was mentioning, yeah.
Every United States president has been in the hip pocket of Israel, and for reasons that I can't understand. They can't even survive without billions of dollars in American weapons. It is unfathomable to me. Both parties are bowing to their donors in APEC. Both parties are bowing to their donors in APEC. So I don't say that Donald Trump is an even broker between the Palestinians and the Israelis, or between the Arabs and the Israelis. He's an imperialist. Donald Trump is an imperialist. He believes in white power. He believes in America having all of them bases, all in Iraq and Saudi Arabia, American bases all over. He believes in that, man.
But wasn't he against that? Remember, he criticized the war in Iraq. And also, I've always felt, from what I've observed, that Trump, to an extent, attempted to observe the Monroe Doctrine. You know, in other words, whatever goes on in your part of the world is your business. Whatever goes on in our part of the world is our business in the Western Hemisphere. You don't see him.
Well, I don't like the Monroe Doctrine either. Monroe Doctrine dictates that America is the master of the Western Hemisphere, the master of the West Indies, the master of our brothers and sisters in South America, master of Afro descendants in the Western Hemisphere. That's imperialist policy. Teddy Roosevelt, walk softly but carry a big stick. But I believe, to get to your point, that Trump is more of a non-interventionist, that he does not believe in being a bunch of wars breaking out and America being in a bunch of wars. Although he's still an imperialist, he's not as bad as the Democrat imperialists who finance genocide. The Democrats and Joe Biden sent F-16s and bombs knowing in advance that they're going to be used to kill innocents and spread war and bloodshed. So if Trump is a man of his word, and it's hard to trust a liar, but he says he wants to bring an end to war. So I'm just hoping one way or another that the war will end. But the struggle against white world supremacy and American imperialism and Zionism, that struggle continues under Donald Trump, and it must be accelerated. But I do believe I'm hoping it will be better, because it can't get much worse than it was under Genocide Joe. I mean, I'm appalled at consciously sending weapons and bombs knowing that they're going to kill innocent people in advance. I can't vote for that. I can't vote for that.
So, you mentioning, okay, imperialism. You mentioning imperialism, okay? You mentioning white supremacy, upholding white supremacy. You know, of course, you being a student of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, the Honorable Minister Shabazz Muhammad, Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, Mr. Muhammad, or Elijah Muhammad, had discouraged black people from involving themselves in what he called the white man's politics, as you remember, for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
We have black politicians across the country that would be considered revolutionary or progressive. What are your thoughts about some of these individuals? Is it possible, do you feel, is it possible to be a revolutionary, but at the same time be an American politician or hold U.S. political office?
If you like Charles Barron,
okay.
If you like the Honorable Charles Barron, the great state assemblyman and councilman from New York, who's the most revolutionary politician I've ever seen. My comrade and ally, brother Charles Barron. He's the only one that I've really seen do that. The rest, you have to take me down the list, and I'll tell you about them one by one. I'll give you my opinion on these black Democratic politicians.
So, okay.
You got to speak up too.
Okay, we're gonna go in the past very quick. What were your thoughts of Adam Clayton Powell, Reverend Congressman Adam Clayton Powell Jr.? I
love Adam Clayton Powell, because Adam Clayton Powell stood with one of my heroes, Minister Malcolm X, who I take my name after, Malik Shabazz, and Adam Clayton Powell stood up with Minister Malcolm X, and Adam Clayton Powell stood up for Black Power. I honor the Honorable Adam Clayton Powell.
Okay, fast forward. Reverend Jesse Jackson, okay, father, he ran for president twice. Rainbow Push. He comes out of the civil rights tradition. He continued Dr. King's Operation Breadbasket, Poor People's Campaign. Your thoughts of him trying to run for office?
Well, he did run for office. Reverend Jesse Jackson is up in age right now, and I won't go too hard on him tonight. I'll tell you that Reverend Jackson has a mixed history. Some of his presidential election campaigns were historic. Now, in 1984, Reverend Jackson's run, which I speak about in my book, The Book of College, Reverend Jackson's run for the presidency in 1984 was historic. Now, he spoke up for Black people, and he spoke up for the aims and aspirations of Black people in his 1984 run, even though ultimately at some point he had to split from Minister Louis Farrakhan and even renounce Minister Farrakhan. But I give Reverend Jackson a fair grade. He stood up for our people. And my mentor, and we've had plenty of time criticizing him.
He was quite hard on the Reverend. Dr. Collins was quite hard on the Reverend.
It was, and he was right for being hard on Jesse Jackson, even though I can tell you at Brother Shaka Sankofa's funeral in Texas, I think in the year 2000, I saw him and Reverend Jackson look each other in the eye and embrace. But my leader held Reverend Jesse Jackson to task, and he told Reverend Jackson to stop bootlicking and buck dancing and stop giving evil an opening. And he said, "You're a brilliant Black man, Brother Jesse," but he wanted Brother Jesse Jackson to stand up. But I won't tarnish his legacy right now. There are many brothers and sisters that honor Reverend Jackson, and he's given a lot for our people. So tonight, I ease up on him, but not these other Negroes.
Mayor Chokwe Lumumba Sr., Mayor Chokwe Lumumba Jr.
Chokwe Lumumba Sr., the former mayor of Jackson, Mississippi, rest in peace. Brilliant man, strong attorney, brilliant freedom fighter. One at the base of N'Cobra, at the base of Republic of New Africa. We can't mention the Republic of New Africa without honoring Imari Obadele. And we have to say that our struggle for a real Republic of New Africa, a real land and nation of our own, in the spirit of Imari Obadele, in the spirit of Marcus Garvey and Elijah Muhammad, that spirit is alive and well, that Black people must have land and a territory of their own. Honors to Baba Chokwe Lumumba, the former mayor of Jackson, Mississippi. And he was the best thing that Jackson, Mississippi had. Now, his legacy was passed to his son, Brother Chokwe, I think Antar Lumumba, his son, who unfortunately, who is a man I respect, but unfortunately, he's just been indicted. He's been indicted in Jackson, Mississippi with the district attorney and members of the city council for allegedly taking bribes. And I read the indictments, and those indictments don't look too good. I'm hoping that Mayor Chokwe Lumumba, the second Chokwe, current mayor, I'm hoping he makes it out of this crisis he's in for Black people in Mississippi. Black people like the Honorable Priscilla Teal, who's probably going to be the next, hopefully we want to be the next senator from the state of Mississippi. And just for my family, I mean, my family is from Mississippi. And I'm hoping that Chokwe, the son, doesn't go down in Mississippi, because I don't want Black people going down in Mississippi. And so I always had to be concerned about the people that I know and respect in Mississippi, Miss Priscilla Till, Sister Queen Sherelle Potts, and Taylor Made, and all of the other soldiers down there in Mississippi, and my family, the Jagus family, you know, because those is my folks. I'm still representing the Jagus family out here Macomb, Mississippi. So I'm hoping brother makes it out, but this is a warning. I'm talking to Trayon White, the councilman in Washington, D.C. I'm talking to the mayor in New York City, brother Eric Adams, and other blacks who have been indicted on bribery charges. That you can't trust this system to think that they are going to allow you to do what white people do on a regular basis and they're gonna let you get away with it. And some of these politicians are dumb as hell. I mean, they got people giving them bags of money, giving them campaign checks, and doing all kind of deals that if they would know the truth and know the time, their antennas would go up right away and say that this is COINTELPRO. I mean, they've become so enamored with this system. These Democrats who have been indicted, they have become so fooled by this system that they have forgot about the counterintelligence program. They have forgotten about the FBI, that they have forgotten that if it smells like a rat, it is a rat. And so I'm not wishing that any of them go down, none of them. The Lumumba, Trayon White, Eric Adams, none of them. But if they did, it's because they've been tricked, bamboozled, and hoodwinked. They need to hear this teaching, not the Democratic Party teaching. This teaching knows. We know when we smell a rat. We know when we smell COINTELPRO. Other ones. Let's go down the line quickly.
Mayor Marion Barry, who you had the honor of knowing and working with closely.
Mayor Marion Barry. Wow, you really asking some questions, ain't you? Marion Barry, quickly, in a word, Marion Barry, well, since I live in Washington, D.C., and my base is Washington, D.C., and I'm from what they call Chocolate City, I recognize that many of my people love and honor Brother Marion Barry. Now, I'm a man that had worked for Marion Barry. I ain't just talking Marion Barry. I was a campaign spokesman in 1992 when Marion Barry got out of jail in Ward 8. His leading field spokesman in Ward 8 and security was Malik Shabazz. I went out there and defended Marion Barry when they said he was a crackhead and he was out of jail and he was held in low esteem. We went to bat for Marion Barry and defended Marion Barry and got Marion Barry elected to Ward 8 Council. And then in 1994, we got him elected as mayor. I still was a leading field spokesman for Brother Marion Barry. And I ultimately parted ways with Marion Barry for reasons I didn't like. It's because when the Honorable Marion Barry got elected in 1994 to the Democratic primary, and he went to Ward 3, the white ward, to try to win him some white support. And then they put pressure on him, asking him about me, the man that went to bat for him when he was down, his young helper. And they asked him about me and my revolutionary activities at Howard University. He just gave me up in 5 seconds, gave me up and said some things about me that I don't appreciate. However, this is, I still don't let it bother me because that's the life of a revolutionary. And so Marion Barry has a good man and a good legacy, and he has some weaknesses. But nevertheless, I honor Marion Barry. Marion Barry stood up still, despite me, forget me. He stood up for poor people. He stood up. He made a lot of black people, a lot of black contractors. He made a lot of them wealthy. You living in Prince George's County, you living in Fairfax, and you black, and you rolling, and you got you a big house and a big car, and you done made it. You got that from the legacy of Marion Barry. So he's most of the way all right, absent condemnations of Louis Farrakhan and Malik Shabazz. So he gets a B to me. I give him a B to B plus. Can't get an A.
Your classmate is also actually who is the son of a Black Power icon, New Jersey Mayor Ras Baraka. Many people say that thanks to his father, in the city of Newark due to the work of his father, Amir Baraka. That is how one of the ways Black Power got put on the map. And of course, we know once again he comes out of a Black radical tradition due to his parents, Mayor Baraka and Amina Baraka. What is your assessment of Mayor Baraka?
The mayor of Newark, New Jersey.
He's currently running for governor, by the way, for people that may not know that.
The current mayor of Newark, New Jersey, and New Jersey gubernatorial candidate, Brother Ras Baraka, is a man that I know well. When I was just a young teenager on the campus of Howard University, I met young Ras Baraka, the son of the great revolutionary Amiri Baraka. And on that campus, I watched this young man raise up a group on campus called Black Near Force. And Ras Baraka was a Black nationalist revolutionary militant with a standing militant paramilitary group on the campus who I had no choice to be admired. In those days of 1988 and 1989, Black nationalism was all the rage on Howard University campus. Black hip hop was infused and dominated by revolutionary artists such as Public Enemy, X-Clan, Brand Nubian, Ice Cube, and the Defiant Giants. This was a great era. I have nothing but fond memories of the revolutionary era of rap and revolution at Howard University. That's where I get everything from. Yes, I've been influenced by Minister Louis Farrakhan. Yes, I've been influenced by Dr. Khalid Muhammad, and honors to the Honorable Silas Muhammad, who I'm helping today with the Afro-Descendant Nation. But much of who I am, I'm representing Howard University. I'm standing true to what I pledged years ago, whatever, however many years ago that was, 1988. I'm true to what I was trained on. I'm hoping Brother Jonathan Hutto, the former revolutionary student leader at Howard University, is here watching. We know Brother Ras. He inspired us. Now, and Brother Ras has gone on to now win the Newark mayor's race 3 times. And he's become a professional and successful politician.
And also a diehard supporter of Vice President Harris.
And he's a diehard supporter of Kamala Harris. I had to be honest with you. Brother Mayor Ras Baraka is a shadow of his former Black revolutionary self. He's nowhere near the man that I knew and that I grew up with. The man that I knew and grew up with as a revolutionary student, he was hard on towing the line Democratic Black mayors. I mean, he would cook on Marion Barry, he would cook on James Sharp, he would cook on Jesse Jackson. I mean, Ras was the man that didn't tolerate no Black compromising of Democrats in office. He was hard on the Democrats, hard on the Republicans, and he was Black to the bone. And he helped inspire me to create progressive student movement, which later became Unity Nation, which rose to acclaim on Howard University campus. And so I would expect that if Ras Baraka became the mayor and a leading political figure in this country, that he would have a leading role against police brutality, that he would have a leading role on Black issues, that he would, because if you're strong, you're gonna face some kind of attacks. You can't be strong and not face some kind of attacks in white America. And so I haven't seen him being strong. I see him more like a centrist now. I see him more like a new Marion Barry or a new Sharp James, or, you know, I say Old Testament Ras Baraka and New Testament Ras Baraka. Old Testament Ras Baraka would shake things up and was a revolutionary, and he challenged the system. New Testament Ras Baraka is trying to be a centrist candidate for governor, trying to make sure that enough white people in New Jersey support it. And that's going to be hard because 46% of voters in New Jersey just voted for Donald Trump. 46% of them just voted for Donald Trump. So now Ras Baraka is going to win the New Jersey governorship. I mean, he's going to have to be running and bucking hard for the Senate. He's going to have to try to appease some white Republicans, and he's going to have to try to appease white folks all over New Jersey, and that's going to be a mess. You know, you can't keep trying to win these seats and lose your black self. You know, and so I mean, that's just my opinion. I mean, I know the man well. Old Testament, I'm with Old Testament Ras Baraka, not necessarily New Testament Ras Baraka. Straight up.
Well, you know, he appears to be quite popular among, you know, once again, this is third term.
Let's speak out loud.
Once again, this is third term, so he does, obviously, he must be quite popular amongst his constituency. Okay, you know, of course, there's somewhat, with any politician, anyone who holds office, you're going to have mixed messages about them. You know, some people feel that he's still a man of the people, but there's some people, such as Miss Renee Brooks, who just said, she said that Mayor Baraka has sold the soul of North to Zionists and Russians.
Okay, I don't want to get too much into Newark politics. He won 3 elections for mayor. That speaks for itself. That means he's a political expert. He won his city, and his accomplishment speaks for itself. Okay, and I mean, and some of this goes with the territory. Politics and politricks, it causes you to change and disappoint people, and so I don't want to stay too much on it. I spoke my piece on him, and I'm not going to stay on him. I expected him to be stronger. I expect him to be stronger. I don't see him as that, and that's that.
Attorney Shabazz, going back over 2 years ago, you released, and of course I announced the book early in the broadcast, you released the first biography on your mentor, your close friend, Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, the Book of Khalid. Okay, you were pushing it hard in that first several months. I would say the first year, first 2 years. You know, you haven't been pushing it as much, and me personally, I'm always recommending it to people. This book right here, of course, the Book of Khalid. Actually, this is actually volume 1, and Attorney Shabazz gave me a signed copy. He gave me a complimentary copy to give away, and I do appreciate that. But this book right here, I tell people, if you want to get a comprehensive and extensive history of Dr. Khalid, Brother Minister Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, this right here is the book. It is the first like it. So you haven't been pushing it. You haven't been on the lecture circuit. But when I tell people about it, I have no idea. Where can I get it? I'm usually asked that question every week. So what's going on with you in the book?
My book, my 515-page biography of my mentor, Dr. Khalid Muhammad. It's a classic. It's not just Khalid Muhammad's history. This is a good history on the Nation of Islam. This is an excellent treatise on the Black liberation struggle from the 80s and the 90s up to the time of his passing in the year 2001. I want to give a shout out to his son, the great son of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, and one of my aiders, Brother Farah Gray, Khalid Muhammad's son. And I want to tell anybody that criticizes my brother Farah Gray or Khalid Muhammad's son that they should leave him the hell alone, because what you see Malik Zulu Shabazz doing many times behind the scene is Farah Gray that's helping me out. He wrote the foreword to this book, and he's one of my strategic advisors. I expect young Farah Gray to do for Black people what Elon Musk is doing for Donald Trump. And if you see me rise in the future, then you will know that Brother Farah Gray is making this contribution. But back to the book. Well, why aren't I always pushing it? Why aren't I always trying to sell it? Or why am I trying to advertise it? This book is the truth. From one cover to another, you cannot erase history, because this history happened and I witnessed it and documented. It is the truth. It is the truth. But I want to tell you something, brother. Despite it being 100% true, there is a soft spot in my heart, right? this book is painful, right? It's true, but it has some painful truths. Some of the painful truths, and the most painful truth in this book is the dispute or the fight that went on in this book between Khalid Muhammad and Minister Louis Farrakhan. And I know some of the people who are watching, they may not agree with me, and they may not like it, or they may criticize me for it. But I still regard Minister Louis Farrakhan as my spiritual father, and I still honor him, despite the disputes that are contained in this book or any other contradictions. I still honor that man because I don't know nothing about this struggle in Islam. I come up in the era of Louis Farrakhan. So what it is that this book is a great book, but it concludes in pain. The painful clash and contradiction between the man that I love, the man that I serve, the man that made me, Khalid Muhammad, and also his spiritual father and my spiritual father. He died in pain of that relationship. And this book, because it's honest and it's accurate, it reflects that pain. Okay? So now, as I have the book and I'm in the year 2024, right? And I'm looking at my people, and my people are divided and they are scattered, right? And they need healing, right? So I decided that I'm going to keep my book as it is. Number one, I'm going to keep it as it is, but I'm adding another chapter before I get back out there and push it. I'm going to add another chapter because I want this chapter to help lead my people into the next chapter. I don't want my people to have to be divided and choose between Khalid Muhammad and Louis Farrakhan or the Black Panthers and the Nation of Islam and because I got to tell you this, brother, despite some of the disputes that we've had in the past or in any other times, I got to tell you the honest truth. I respect the Nation of Islam. I have a deep respect for the Nation of Islam that my grandfather taught me and helped bring me around, and he introduced me to Khalid Muhammad and Louis Farrakhan. I have a deep respect for them. And I want Black people to respect the Nation of Islam, all of them. Nation of Islam, Louis Farrakhan, Nation of Islam, Honorable Silas Muhammad, Nation of Islam, Pure Elijah Muhammad. I want them to respect the Nation of Islam. And so therefore I'm writing another chapter to conclude. What it is I'm coming out with another chapter, and that chapter is going to be called Khalid and Farrakhan. And I want to write this chapter so that the youth and the people that read my book in the future, that they could have a healthy respect for the Nation of Islam, Khalid Muhammad, and Louis Farrakhan. I know some of y'all don't agree with me on that. I know some of y'all want me to go in on Minister Louis Farrakhan in favor of Khalid Muhammad and to throw down on Louis Farrakhan, but Minister Louis Farrakhan he means, I got to tell you, man, despite whatever contradictions, he means a lot to Black people. He's influential amongst Black people. And so I'm going to write another chapter that tells people, puts his history into proper context. Okay? Whatever errors or contradictions have gone on, he's still a great man. If he hears this message right now, I want to let him know that Minister Louis Farrakhan, he's still respected by Malik Shabazz. Call it a flaw if you want to. I still consider him to be my spiritual father, and I still wish the Nation of Islam under his leadership well. I wish him well because right now we need a strong Nation of Islam from all camps. We need a strong Nation of Islam. Now, the Honorable Silas Muhammad and the Afro-descendant nation, that's who I'm working with now. And I want to thank Honorable Silas Muhammad, who was like an apostle of the message, and he's extremely consistent in what he's teaching, and he's very supportive of me. And I believe that it's time now in the Afro-descendant nation. I believe that it's time now. It's time for Black self-development, Black economic development, Black nationhood. It's time for the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. That's what time it is, folks. It's time for Elijah's teaching and Elijah's program. It's time for Marcus Garvey's teaching and Marcus Garvey program. It's time to get back to the core program of the Black Panther Party and self-defense and Huey P. Newton and the Black Liberation Army and other greats. And so I'm putting another chapter on my book because I'm interested in the future of my people. I want my people to be united in the future and not divided. So I'm not changing it, but I'm adding on something to so those that love Louis Farrakhan, you can pick up this book too. You know, if you love Khalid Muhammad, you can pick up this book too, because I love Black people and I want them to have hope for the future.
Well, Senator Shabazz, if you have nothing further to say, I think we can get ready to wrap this up. What are your final thoughts to Black America and to the Black nation?
I want to thank you, sisters and brothers, for tuning in and listening to me for this long interview. But it enabled me to get my thoughts out and get my thoughts across. As I started, I say I have the best interest of my people at heart. I have your best interest at heart. I believe that we need strong Black men in this hour. I don't believe that we need to be in fear and cowering and begging in this hour. I want Black women to know and to understand that you don't have to feel heartbroken and that you don't have a man that's going to stand up and provide for our nation and our people in this hour. It's time. Donald Trump and white nationalism coming into office, it sets the stage for Black nationalism. It sets the stage for Black economic development. This sets the stage for self-determination and for reparations. We must take charge of our posts and all Black nation property in view. The Black community is our charge. No Democrat, no Republican is coming to save us. We're going to have to save ourselves. Nobody is going to fly out of the White House and solve the problems of gentrification and genocide and self-destruction in the Black community but us. And so this hour is going to make us strong. And I'm looking forward to this hour. Challenges will make us stronger. And I just want our people to accept the challenge. I don't know what role I will have to play in the future of our people, but I'm getting an indication it's going to be a strong role for our future. I'm going to say straight up, I believe that what Donald Trump is doing for white people, that Attorney Malik Zulu Shabazz can help do for Black people. I want to be as strong for my people as this devil is for his people. And so I say it's time for Black power, time for Black liberation, self-determination, taking care of our own self-respect, self-dignity. I believe that this is the time that is written of in the scriptures in this hour. No matter what Roland Martin does, old roly-poly Roland Martin, rolling around on the floor, looked like Roland about to bust a blood vessel in his head, hollering and crying about Kamala Harris losing. I'm scheduled to have a showdown with Roland Martin, a one-on-one debate with Roland Martin coming very soon, called the Black people's relationship with the Democratic Party. Save it or destroy it. Brother Roland is busting a blood vessel out of his fat head, claiming he wants to save the Democratic Party, and he went all out on the cross for Kamala Harris. And now he's further misleading our people by trying to convince them that in 2 years, in 2 years, we gotta get the House in 2 years, we got to get the House of Representatives back in. And we can't go for that, sisters and brothers. Don't let anybody tell you we fighting to get something back in 2 years and 4 years, and we got to get a seat back. Don't you believe Roland Martin and Van Jones and even Al Sharpton? You know, I'm disappointed in Sharpton. Now, when I had the Goon Squad, as I have the Goon Squad case, that's what's took so much energy out of me today. I've been in depositions all day. All day I've been interrogating former members of the Sheriff Department in Rankin County and fighting my case on behalf of Michael Jenkins and Eddie Parker all day. I've been fighting for them all day. Did you know that for this case here, which is the biggest civil rights case in many years, and this case of the Rankin County Goon Squad that tortured Jenkins and Parker has set civil rights records for conviction time, 132 years that these 6 officers got in Mississippi. This is our case and the case of my dear brother, the great freedom fighter attorney from Mississippi, attorney Trent Walker. And also shout out to some of my other brothers and helpers, attorney Greg Latimer, attorney Donald Temple. This case is big for civil rights. Did you know that Reverend Al Sharpton would not return one of our phone calls to help with the Goon Squad case? Wow. Did you know that Reverend Al Sharpton refused to have us on his show for MSNBC, refused to have us to the House of Justice, refused to write letters to the judges to help get them sentenced, refused to do the work that the National Action Network is supposed to be doing? Reverend Al Sharpton? What was that? Was that simply because a strong black man and strong revolutionaries were the lawyers on that case? Is that why you didn't support the Goon Squad case, Reverend Sharpton? Is that why you wouldn't have us on your show or blocked us off NBC, Reverend Sharpton? So I don't know about Reverend Sharpton. I got to hold him accountable for that. This is not a game for competition or who can have the most influence. We're supposed to be trying to get free, not to see who got the most influence or who can control the TV the most. And so I got to crack on Reverend Sharpton. You tell him I said it. Now, I'm not playing no more. That's what I'm telling y'all as I get off of here. I'm opening up out here in America. And held my silence, and goddamn it, Donald Trump done opened up, and Malik Zulu's opening up. I'm taking off the gloves as if I had any on in the first place, which I didn't. But I'm getting ready to get more aggressive, man. I'm at that point in my career. I'm going to give all I got for the liberation and independence and self-determination and reparations for my people. And I'm going to give my life for that. And I honor you, brother, for interviewing me. And I honor you, one of the great journalists of our time, the Honorable Dashawn Farad and Black Power, y'all. Honor you.
Well, family, thank you very much for joining us. I'm Dashawn Farad. Please, you can find me at GoProRadio.com, which is founded by Brother Tyrone Xavier Washington in New York City. And of course, follow attorney Malik Shabazz. Definitely support Black Lawyers for Justice.
Let me give a shout out real quick. I want to give a shout out to Renee Brooks, Sister Collida. I want to give a shout out to Sister Collida. I want to give a shout out to Momoja Ajabu. I want to give a shout out to all of my posse in Washington, D.C., Imam Akbar and Brother Uhuru and all my folks in Washington, D.C. I want to give a shout out to Brother Ian up here. I want to give a shout out to Cece, Malika, Shabazz. My daughter is in the middle of going to college and building a clothing company that's going to clothe Black people in the future. Man, Black people, it's your time. It's your time. So, man, Black Power, honor you. And I'm with you all the way, man. Give my life for you. Black Power.
Black Power.